I was 37 years old, and I think that I had enough time within the community that I was beginning to feel this inability to look at the renewal of Vatican II. This is an excerpt from my letter to Mother Virginette, dated July 29th, 1973. Dear Mother Virginette, I have decided to join Sister Jean Rakoczy and the other sisters who are seeking to live the Felician way of life in a new spirit. New spirit. New spirit.
The community was so law-stricken. I mean, it was like laws were the most important thing.
The hallmark of the Felician Sisters was obedience. You were expected to be obedient no matter what. I think that we began to question that.
We felt that there were not going to be any changes coming from Vatican II. And as a result, many of us were disillusioned.
I believe that a religious must have the freedom to be a real part of the decision-making regarding her life as a member of a religious congregation.
This new venture I knew was going to be one of compassion, of love.
I didn't have any reservations, and I was just anxious to do the things that Vatican II told us to do.
I realize that the step I am taking involves a great risk, and I tremble at the thought.
My parents thought I was making a mistake, and I couldn't convince them I wasn't making a mistake.
It was hopeful, and I wanted to go in a new direction.
It just seemed so positive. That's why I look forward to them.
Now I think back, oh my God, how did I ever do that? But I did.
God is asking us to move on to a different way. And what that way was at the time wasn't always that open to us.
Write the vision down. Inscribe it on tablets to be easily read. Since the vision is for its own time, only eager for its own fulfillment, it does not deceive. If it comes slowly, wait, for come it will without fail.
After Vatican II was completed in the late 60s, there was a lot of excitement as well as frustration and disappointment in the Felician Sisters of the Livonia province. The sisters began to meet in committees, to write proposals, to make suggestions, to update, and to live a life with a little more freedom and involvement in the church and with the laity. It didn't take long to figure out that the committee work and the proposals and the hopes were quite in vain.
Gradually, a number of these Felician sisters realized that they were seeking a new expression of religious life. Sister Jean Rakoczy, a member of the Livonia province leadership team, would serve as a catalyst for the change about to come.
We received a letter from Jean Rakoczy saying that she was going to take a leave from the Felician Sisters. So she said, if there are sisters who are interested in forming a group, we'll have a meeting on July 15th, 1973. And so that's exactly what we did. We met.
33 sisters showed up, and it began from there.
It was an easy decision. Didn't take anything out of me mentally or anything. I was ready for it from 3 years before that.
What I found was a joyous group of women, and there was no anger and no opposition.
We didn't know we were going to establish a new community. In fact, we wanted to be an arm of the Felician Sisters, and we thought we would be the Felician Sisters of Detroit, and that would make us separate, but it didn't work out that way.
This journey of separation would never have succeeded without support from John Cardinal Dearden of the Archdiocese of Detroit.
Cardinal Dearden, from the very beginning, was very supportive of this group. There's a letter from him in July of 1973 saying, I understand that you are beginning to gather a group of sisters together to begin a new community, and I totally support you in this, and I encourage you to move forward and keep me informed.
Several neighboring congregations of sisters also reached out to offer support. The Adrian Dominicans, the Sisters of Mercy, the IHM Sisters from Monroe, and the Grand Rapids Dominicans.
In January of 1974, the IHM Sisters were very kind in offering us a weekend to hold our very first chapter at their facility in Crofton, Ontario. And during that weekend, we really merged as a community, and we put together our first guidelines for living, which became the nucleus of our constitutions and our directives.
We talked things through, and if we argued, we argued. But we came to a consensus at the end.
We call it shared leadership, and we remind our sisters that where one leader is, we all are. We feel that we are part of leadership. And I think we have valued that, and we've lived it.
I was being treated as an adult because they didn't make decisions for you. You had to make decisions.
At this first meeting in Crofton, we elected our first leadership team: Jean Rakoczy, Barbara Selesky, and Roberta Kalasa. There were a number of suggested names.
There was a Felician Franciscans, Franciscans of the Word, Servants of the Word, all kinds of different ones.
The sky was the limit.
There was a lot of tension because we have a Franciscan formation, and we loved the mission of Mother Angela Truskowska, who was the foundress of the Felician.
We kept going out to prayer, coming back, out to prayer, back.
You can imagine using a whole day to decide what you're going to be called.
But we did it, and with patience and prayer.
Everybody finally agreed.
The name Servants of Jesus was a big deal. I love that name so much.
A wonderful affirmation of where we were at that point came up in Mother Angela's letters, written at a time when the sisters were being dispersed because of the political situation in Poland. She talks about we can no longer gather together, we cannot wear the habit, but we'll remain living as servants of Jesus. And it was kind of like an affirmation for us. We loved that idea.
The young community realized that since its members would be separated by distance and different ministries, they needed to meet regularly to hold themselves together in prayer and solidarity.
At our January meeting in 1974, we made a decision that we would meet every month, that was what was going to form us as a community. And we've kept that, with the exception of these last couple years, just because of age and people's disabilities that's making it difficult.
Over the years, the servants gathered often for group retreats, study days, and enrichment opportunities. They invited a number of speakers to nourish and challenge them spiritually and intellectually.
We had to create our own prayer space because we didn't have a chapel to go to or a mother house. A little ambiance to help us to settle ourselves in and become present to each other and to our God.
We were not going to be just servants of Jesus. We were servants of each other also. And we cared for each other. We still do.
After being the official leader of the Servants of Jesus for 2 years, Jean Rakoczy informed us that she had a terminal illness and that because of our lack of health facilities and financial status, the medical bills would be quite high, and she felt that she could not impose this on this young community. She therefore chose to withdraw from us. It was not only her medical condition. She finally was suffering the injustice and the anguish that had been part of her life.
Her experience in dealing with the leadership of the Felician Sisters was very, very difficult for her. She felt so hurt over that.
After a couple of years, some medical treatments really relieved Jean's physical ailment and strengthened her.
She's remained a good friend of ours and a supporter of the servants all these years. And She worked hard in social justice issues until her retirement. Always stayed in contact with us in some way.
The servants have also felt continuing support from the bishops of several Michigan dioceses where they ministered, particularly Detroit, Saginaw, Grand Rapids, and Gaylord.
I think when you have that kind of affirmation from other people, that you just know that what you did was right and good. We've done a lot for the Church of Michigan.
We appreciated the gift that we got from Father Bodan Kosicki, the statue of the flight into Egypt.
This sculpture beautifully depicted 4 images of servanthood. Joseph, obedient and courageous, forgetting himself to do what God asked. Mary, saying yes to a great mystery with the words, "I am the handmaid of the Lord." Jesus, now a helpless baby, but one who would later say, "I am among you as one who serves." And even the donkey, following Joseph, humbly carrying Mary and Jesus. This sculpture has always reminded the servants of Jesus of their own flight and their long journey.
With this community as the servants of Jesus, by sharing in his mission. Amen.
The servants still had much work ahead. They needed to address the question of property. Would they own a chapel, a mother house, a cemetery?
It was like, no, we're not going to own property because it's just going to put burdens on us. Who's going to take care of it? Who's going to live there? Who's going to be responsible? And nobody wanted the responsibility at that time.
We wouldn't own property. That was different, and I wondered about that.
The decision not to own property was something that I strongly believed in. In religious communities, people were made servants of the jobs that need to have been filled rather than what their gifts were.
We chose not to have any buildings, and we're glad we did that because now the communities are having a hard time selling their buildings.
After a year of study, reflection, and writing, the servants made an official legal and financial separation from the Felicians and became a diocesan institute under the Archbishop of Detroit.
In July of 1974, we received an official notice from the Congregation of Religious Life in Rome that we were approved as an experimentum group for 3 years, and this would begin officially on August 6, 1974. We have always considered August 6th, the Feast of the Transfiguration, as our founding day.
When I left the Felicians, there was a feeling of freedom, like I can do anything in the world. That might sound pie in the sky, but to follow where you felt God was calling you and do it with the most freedom you've ever felt in your life.
One of the sisters and I celebrated our Silver Jubilee as servants immediately, 2 months later. So that was our first celebration.
The Felicians said that no more Felician sisters could join us in this period when we were forming. And it really made us feel bad because there were so many that really wanted to join us.
The servants, however, did accept 3 Oxford Dominican sisters who wished to transfer. Despite the pain of their separation from the Felicians years ago, the servants have borne no ill will toward them.
They have been our friends. I mean, they've attended our doings, our jubilees, our funerals, our dinners.
I thank them from the bottom of my heart for the education they gave us.
The separation agreement, however, left the servants with literally no money until they began ministry at new parishes and schools.
I'm from Bay City, and so I moved in with my parents, and my brother-in-law, Jim Hogan, was the personnel manager at the Bay City plant. Of course, he had heard that I didn't have any money, and so he said, I could get you a job at the plant. I said, you're kidding. You mean I could really work there? I became Jane the Riveter. And so I stayed there up until September. I did wear the habit because I lived with my parents and I had no other clothes. We had a lot of different remarks made about me because I was a nun. The men said to each other, "Watch your language."
I was able to go and pick strawberries on a farm and work manually, and I earned about $10 a day. It was very exhausting work.
I enjoyed my stay there, and they paid me $10 an hour, and that was good money. So I was able to share it with our sisters.
I had no money whatsoever. We liked cream in our coffee, and there was no cream because the house had been closed. So we were laughing about the fact that we didn't have anything, what we were going to do. And in the midst of this, Father Taylor called and said, "I bet you girls don't have any money." And he offered to advance us in our first month's salary.
We found ourselves short of beds. Sister Liz Osdog ordered as many beds as we needed, and the sales manager said, "Well, how are you going to pay for this, sister? With cash?" "I have no cash." "Are you going to pay with a check?" "I don't have a bank account." "Are you going to pay with a credit card?" "I don't have a credit card." Sister Liz then explained to him that we were professional teachers and that if he could trust us, we would be able to pay it once we started teaching in autumn. He agreed to it. Sister Liz then called Sister Jean Rakosi, our foundress, and said that we would be receiving the beds, but we weren't able to pay for them. And so Jean sponsored a shower and invited all our families, friends, anyone we knew that would come and contribute to that. And eventually, we did pay the bill.
From the very beginning, we said two things. We would make decisions through consensus, and we wouldn't make major decisions until we had a lived experience. And that's why we didn't write our mission statement until 1986. So for 12 years, we lived it.
We took a week in 1986 to write our mission statement. We struggled with words to make sure that they captured what we wanted to do with our lives. There was one word, and I can remember that it radically followed the gospel. And some people said, no, radical's too hard. No, yes, radical, we've got to do that because how else can you follow Jesus except in a very radical way?
In 2016, 30 years later, we took it back to our chapter and we said, do we still affirm this? Is there anything in our mission statement that we would like to change? And we went line by line and affirmed. It seemed more current in 2016 than it did in 1986.
Will you let me be your servant? Let me be as Christ to you.
We, servants of Jesus, are called together by the Spirit of God in response to the Second Vatican Council. We freely choose to live the gospel radically as vowed women.
We are pilgrims on a journey.
In following Jesus, the servant of God, we risk security to be obedient to the Spirit. We participate in the liberating mission of Jesus by being compassionate servants to the oppressed, enabling them to claim the freedom Jesus came to bring. We are strengthened and challenged by our giftedness to be with others in their deepest need and to enable the people of God to use their gifts in service. We call each other to conversion of life and to be women of hope so that we may proclaim and celebrate the resurrection.
As a support and commitment to that mission statement, the servants created a sharing fund, not only for their own professional studies, but to assist others in need.
We didn't have corporate ministry, so people were not appointed to any place. But we were encouraged by our leadership and one another to look at what was our gift to the church. You were encouraged then to go and get the preparation for that profession.
We invested the money. We also distributed quite a bit of money to the poor. We had scholarships for children who were going to Catholic schools and couldn't pay the tuition. We also gave money to charity because we thought that was our responsibility.
Over the years, the servants have ministered in significant leadership roles. Sister Barbara Selesky served as the first female chancellor for the Archdiocese of Detroit. Sister Roberta Colassa created the first lay ministry program in the Diocese of Saginaw. Sister Christine Mihelsik was named Superintendent of Catholic Schools for the Archdiocese of Detroit. The servants encouraged each other to find ministry in harmony with their individual talents and in service of people's needs.
We were free to go and to minister where there was the greatest need.
I was a teacher for many years. And then when I joined the servants, I did retreat work for several years.
Hello, Sister.
Good morning. How are you today?
I visited the homebound. It's very comforting to bring communion to someone, the body of Christ.
Amen.
And especially when it's an older person. I did some adult education classes. I was in charge of the RCIA.
Court will take up the case of ABC Corporation versus Mary Helen Seagreen.
I did not ask to go into law. And so one day, Sister Roberta, who was then our leadership, came to the door and she says, "Anne, how about going to law school? And then you can take care of those people that you keep talking about." I said, "You know, that I will do."
All right, counsel, you may question your client.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mrs. Seagreen, did you have any money in the bank?
Not at this time.
When I became a lawyer, I took for myself my motto, the words of Micah, which is to act justly, love tenderly, and walk humbly with your God. I chose to work with the poor, the vulnerable, the orphans, the sick, the senior citizens. We didn't charge our seniors and our children anything. That was my job.
We ministered in hospitals and nursing and teaching and pastoral work with the special needs children, with the Hispanic population. So we've been all over the place.
I went to the Philippines. I was invited to work with the Filipino nurses. I loved working with nurses because I saw so much giving.
I belonged in the classroom where I could be with the younger children, which I loved. I also loved creative work, arts and crafts. We would do a lot of enactment of the gospel stories.
My first love is teaching. I taught lower grades, which I loved.
I've always been in music for the last 50-some years, in one form or another. I play guitar, number one. I lead the music group. I plan all the music for the liturgy. I've done that for years.
I was invited to take the position of field education director at St. John's Provincial Seminary, one of the most enjoyable ministries of my lifetime. The ability to influence the seminarians in terms of working and doing their internships.
My whole ministerial life was in education. I loved being a teacher, and I taught at all levels, from junior high through college, and then I was principal for almost 30 years.
I was very active in social justice, and so I was able to attend many such events like the resistance to nuclear arms. I went to El Salvador to stand with the women of El Salvador against the loss of their children in the middle of the night.
In 1999, their 25th anniversary year, the servants created an associates program, inviting lay people to join with them in community, prayer, and outreach.
For the last 17 years, I've been connected as an associate, and I've never regretted it.
Be still and know that I am God.
We have been included in the meetings of the sisters, in their celebrations, in their prayer, reflections, study days, retreats.
Their prayer services are so beautiful. They really bring a stronger connection between God, us, and all of creation.
We are intimately connected with the servants. We call ourselves servants of Jesus.
I've been most blessed to be with them, and I'm grateful every time I can come to a gathering.
I didn't know something was missing in my life, but being around these women started changing the way I looked at the world.
A very smart young child one day said to me, "You got to be careful who you hang out with because you get to be like them." And so I thought, well, that would be a good group of people to be like.
Hanging around with these women changed my life forever. I wanted to pray more, I wanted to study more, but then I also started wanting to reach out more and do more. I tutor English as a second language.
He can dig a hole under the fence with his long claws.
Perfect. I am currently tutoring a beautiful lady from Thailand. This is my third student that I'm helping go through the process of citizenship.
I started organizing volunteers for Meals on Wheels.
Come on in, the door is open.
Meals on Wheels. We don't have time with 35 people to visit very long, but I do make them talk to me a little. Are you okay? How are you doing? One of the basic works of mercy, fulfilling a need for someone at the very basic level. It's absolutely what the servants do.
They see the things going on in the world, and they tackle these issues that are hot topics. You just want to be around them and be a part of it. They're just amazing.
I've learned, watching what they do, the seeds that they plant, I've learned that you have to be willing to plant those seeds and have faith.
I think the largest challenge that we as associates face is to carry on the mission and the charism of the servants. I do feel that it will continue through us and through others that the sisters have touched through the years.
The servants have also chosen to recognize others who embody the spirit of giving. They honor these persons through their annual Servants Among Us Awards. In 2018, after consultation with Archbishop Alan Vigneron of Detroit, the Servants of Jesus made a significant decision about their own future.
Admit them to rejoice in the light of your face.
As of July 2018, there will no longer be a servant of Jesus elected the canonical leader of the Institute.
Through this process, we had to write down, would I be willing to go into leadership? If you wrote no, would you be willing to accept a religious sister from another community? Yes or no? And if you wrote yes, would you be willing to support that person? So we got to the point where everybody said yes to those questions.
The sister who will assume the position of a canonical commissary will be the official governing person of the Institute, but the Servants of Jesus will be retained as the Servants of Jesus with our constitution and our charism and our mission statement and who we are to the very end. What will change will be the person in charge, making the final decisions, whether they're financial or whether they're health decisions. This is the person that we will trust.
Dear Sister Paula, by virtue of this letter, I appoint you Commissary of the Servants of Jesus for 3 years, beginning July 22nd, 2018. With assurance of my prayerful support and encouragement, I am sincerely yours in the Lord, signed, Alan H. Vigneron, the Most Reverend Archbishop of Detroit.
Sister Paula, will you witness the good news of Jesus and through your leadership serve the servants of Jesus?
With the help of God and Mary Immaculate, I will.
Place His shawl around you with our prayer for God's blessing.
I think this is one of the most courageous group of women I've met. The willingness to be open to such a step in their life, to say, yes, we've done our work, yes, our mission is still with us, and yes, we are willing to move to a new place in our life.
I never regretted the choice I made. It just seemed like a natural progression.
I didn't plan this, but it all worked out.
I'm so glad I became a servant because it was a time of discovery.
It was just a wonderful treasure, a great gift from God.
God was leading us. We didn't have all the pathways fixed.
As Vatican II women, we became more conscious of the injustice in the world.
I hope that we will be remembered for our openness, for our hospitality, for our welcoming of all kinds of people.
We wrote in our mission statement that we would live the gospel radically, to live as Jesus lived and to serve as Jesus served.
That is what we dedicated ourselves to be, servants, servants, servants.
Our journey together has been gifted with blessings far more numerous and profound than we could ever have imagined 45 years ago. We have cherished community life, prayerful connections, celebrations of life, and passing into eternity. We believe that our vision will be completely fulfilled in its own time, but it will surely come. And thus we write it down. And as we wait, we continue to live our cherished mantra, to live as Jesus lived and serve as Jesus served.